Hello, and welcome to UFC 320 review because it is over. And shout out Alex Poatan Pereira for knocking out Magomed Ankalaev in the first round. We'll get to that at the very end, but I had to express that first because I'm recording it right after that, and that was just insane. Poatan's back as champion. All is right in the world. But let's start with the prelims. So my predictions earlier went over who I thought was going to win, and spoiler alert, a lot of them are wrong. But let's start with Ramiz Brahmahaj submitting Vanderford in round two. He loses round one against Vanderford, but then gets a head kick in round two and then just grabs Vanderford's neck. It got me so off guard starting this early with a finish, but it was great and I really enjoyed it. That's a 3 in a row for Brahmahaj, and I think I got to pick him next time he fights. Then let's go to the decisions that happened. I don't have a picture of Veronica Hardy here, but she beat Brogan Walker via decision pretty easily. That was the first fight of the night. But we have in the top left, we have Chris Gutierrez versus Farid Basharat. Basharat keeps his I bet against him, but he wins 29-28. It was a good fight, chess match kind of. Then let's go bottom left with Macy Chasson and Yana Santos. Yana Santos, she's gonna be one of the women's MMA fighters that I look forward to. I really liked how she fought. Macy came in overweight, but Yana said, "I want to fight anyway." Apparently, this has happened to her like 4 different times, which is kind of just like what? But Yana wins it 29-28. Good performance. She'll be ranked in the top 5 come Tuesday, and that's pretty exciting. And then the disappointed man in the top right is Punahele Soriano, which I thought he was going to get a finish in this fight, and instead he would get caught in a guillotine, break out of it, and then ground and pound. That happened 3 times, and that was the round, all 3 times. So he won at 30-27. Veretennikov kept trying to jump that guillotine. He had a lot of faith in it, but it didn't work. But yeah, Punahele Soriano remains undefeated at welterweight. Nothing to write home about, to be honest. But he did win 30-27, so he dominated the fight, but not in the way that I thought he was going to. Now let's talk about a controversial scorecard, because every UFC event has to have one of those, and it's Patchy Mix versus Jakob. I still don't know how they pronounced his Jakob's last name. He's Polish, so it sounds a lot more different than how it's spelled. But this fight was not what I hyped it up to be. But I thought Patchy Mix won rounds 2 and 3. They gave it to Jakob. I'm not going to call it a robbery because it was a close round, but I think that Patchy Mix won this fight. They gave it to Jakob. Both of these guys showed good ground game. Patchy Mix kind of laid on him like a starfish in round 3, but Jakob was just great on the ground with these butterfly get-ups. It was great. Like he was a lot more fun to watch than Patchy. Patchy kept walking towards Jakob and just eating 1-2s, which that's typical Patchy Mix. But it was an okay fight, a little disappointing, but the scorecard was pretty controversial. I think Mix won. Then let's go to the finish. The prelims end with 2 finishes, starting with Daniel Santos on the left, where he knocks out Jo Sang Yu. Santos wins round 1 and then quickly into round 2 knocks out Yu. Not Yu, but Jo Sang Yu. I mean, just that ground and pound, that right hand, it was just, it looked, that's 4 in a row for Santos, I want to say. That is just, hey, if he makes weight next time, because they both missed weight at 145, they could have a new guy in the rankings fairly soon. And then let's go to my favorite middleweight fighter in the UFC now, Atiba Gutierrez, round 1 knockout over Tristan Vines. This fight went exactly how you would expect for Gutierrez being the biggest UFC favorite in UFC history. Vines did an okay job at circling around for a minute, and then Gutierrez caught him. Gutierrez threw him to the side, elbowed him a few times, and ref had to step in because Gutier would have murdered that man. Gutier has a lot of power. In his post-fight interview, Joe Rogan asks him about his power or something, and he replies with, "I don't know. I've never hit myself." So that was really funny. So he even has some character to him. Uh, it was a fun way to end the prelims. But now let's go on to what everybody wants to talk about, which is the main card. In the main card, every fight had a finish except the one that was the Marab fight. But let's talk about the two submissions that kicked off the main card. Abus Magomedov gets submitted by turn off the body cam Joe Pyfer, also known as I got a hair transplant just to shave my head Joe Pyfer. He's an interesting guy, but you can't deny his power, and now you can't deny his ground game. He knocks down Abus Magomedov because he was gassed in the early second round, knocks him down, then grabs his back and chokes him out with a rear naked choke. It was just super impressive. Magomedov did win the first round, but then he quickly gassed out, and that allowed Pyfer to just manhandle him in the second round. And then this fight, Yusuf Zalal versus Josh Emmett, there wasn't any manhandling, but Yusuf Zalal was basically a bullfighter, and Josh Emmett was the bull. Uh, Zalal removes the red cape for the bull, and then ends up getting Josh Emmett in an arm triangle. It went so quick. I didn't even think Emmett was in trouble at first because it was just looked like he was going for it, but he had this locked in tight, and Emmett verbally taps. And I mean, Yusuf Zalal getting this crafty submission finish, that was very, very cool to see because I said that he was going to win by running around the cage. So I'm glad that that didn't happen. Instead, he submitted Josh Emmett very, very quickly, and I really enjoyed that. But now let's talk about fight of the night. Fight of the night was Yuri Prohashka and Khalil Rountree. Every fight on this card was pretty solid, but this fight stood among the top on its own because Khalil Rountree for the first 2 rounds was punishing Yuri with anything he wanted. He was just so fast and powerful. But then in round 3, Yuri Prohashka puts him out cold. Yuri was doing this weird slip thing in round 1 and 2, like his feet kept slipping a lot. But then in round 3, somehow he found his feet and puts out Rountree cold. These two are absolute warriors. This fight was so entertaining. Yuri, honestly, with this performance, should get another title shot, even though it'd be him versus Pereira 3. So that's why I kind of think that they were going to go with Alberg. But man, Yuri and Rountree, this was a fun fight. But let's get into the title fights. Marab and Still, the Machine. What is funny about this fight is Corey Sandhagen did everything right, and yet he still lost 49-45 on the scorecards. Sandhagen won round 1. He did good. He did very good in round 1, showed his striking, and didn't let Marab grab him. But then in round 2, this all changed because Marab Davalishvili knocks down Corey Sandhagen, and then as soon as he gets back up, takes him back down and hits him with ground and pound. Now, fight could have been stopped, but it wasn't. It would have been a pretty early stoppage, so I'm glad that they didn't. But then Marab wins rounds 3, 4, and 5, leading to a 49-45 decision. And like I said, Sandhagen did everything right, and yet it still wasn't enough. Marab remains champion. He said that he wants Peter Yan in December, and to that I say, do it, because that would be so hype. Marab defending the belt 4 times in 1 year, that would be insane. And he didn't take a lot of damage in this fight. I think it's possible. I don't think it'll happen, but if it does, that'd be insane. He also is the first UFC fighter to record 100 takedowns. He needed 3 going into the fight to hit 100, and now he's at 117 because he took down Corey Sandhagen 20 times in 25 minutes. Now we go to the main event, and I had to start with this because it was just so crazy. Pereira, I didn't break down the fight at the start, but now I'm going to, because Alex Pereira, as soon as this opening bell rings, chamas over to him and just walks down Magomed Ankalaev, literally shades of Jamal Hill at UFC 300. Just walks him down. They exchange a few shots. Magomed has control. Has like he's like in charge for like 1 second of the fight, and then Pereira unloads a right, and just Magomed comes crashing for a takedown, and Pereira says no and just starts 12-6 elbows from Alex Pereira right after a clean overhand right to the right side of your head. You're not surviving that. Magomed Ankalaev gets TKO'd in round one. Poatan is back. All is right in the world. Makes me very happy. Alex Pereira back on top. Shut up, Magomed Ankalaev, for beating a beat up Pereira and then losing in the rematch. But now Magomed's a good fighter, but Pereira showed that he is back to being number one pound for pound. Sorry, Ilya, but this showed it. Pereira is a beast, and he's the new champion again. UFC 320 was a very fun card. Thank you for coming to my review for it. Next video will be predicting the next fight for all of these people, or who they should be matched up against. I'm going to do the winners on the prelims, and then I'll do every main card fighter. Yeah, this was a fun card. A lot of finishes, a lot of fun moments. Shout out Marab. Shout out Poatan. This card was just great. And thank you for watching.